Are we live? Okay. Erev Tov, everyone. How are we doing? Good. Don't be shy.
Shalom.
Tov? Shalom. Yeah. Yeah. Erev Tov is just good evening. So, Laila Tov is good night. Yep. So, if you want to say good morning to someone, wake up tomorrow morning, I'll push you a little bit. Boker Tov. Boker Tov is good morning. Yeah. Boker Tov. Yeah, it's a resh. Remember, the resh is a guttural, so we'll get there. I haven't introduced you to resh yet. So I would like to go ahead and start us off with our customary Shema. This week we're going to stick with just verse 4. Next week I'm putting verse 5 in there as well. So it'll take us a little bit more to get to it, but that's worth it. Okay, are you ready? Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Tov me'od. Very good. Now, I want to go ahead and introduce you guys to a song. Now, you will recognize this a little bit. Good evening. Did you order a book and a CD or just the books? Just the books. Okay, perfect. Okay. There you go. Okay. Now, maybe you've seen, this was actually, by the way, introduced to me by Rodney, Linda's husband. This is how I found out about him, and it just blew me away. No, that is actually outside the wall. This is the western wall here, but where he was standing before was just outside the Tower of David, which is on the western side of the whole city. That's the western wall. Tried to find something with lyrics, guys. Such a great place. How great is our God? Sing with me, how great is our God. And all will see how great is our God. Gadol Elohai, Shilki Gadol Elohai. כל אחד יראה כי גדול אלוהי. I can't hit that pitch. כל אחד יראה כי גדול. שיר כי גדול אלוהי, כל אחד יראה כי גדול אלוהי. Yeah, Joshua Aaron, amazing. Yeah, I felt, maybe a little worship tonight, just a little bit. Even if you couldn't really understand it, it's at least giving you a sense to hear how it sounds. I will always be making recommendations to you as I find them, as far as bands or other resources. One, actually, that I should have mentioned last week, which I think you will find very useful, get off, is this one. I think it's spelled this way. Yes, Aleph with Beth. She does biblical Hebrew, and she goes through and actually does readings and other things. So I think you will find her stuff to be very helpful. Yeah, it's on YouTube. Yeah, she's good. She's very good. I believe her pronunciation is more American than Sephardic, so I would point you in the direction of Sephardic pronunciation. But it's a great resource, fantastic resource. So I highly recommend it. Let's see, I think I have to actually manually do this one. Okay, thanks, Elon Musk. That's great.
But if you still think stocks, real estate...
I really don't. No, I don't. I really didn't ask you that. Go away. That is not, and I did not ask about stocks. Okay. All right. Let's go ahead and do a little bit of review. I think it would be really cool to have you guys at tables, maybe just review the concepts that we learned last week in your homework stuff. I don't know how many of you guys didn't get a chance to do that. You all did it? Phenomenal. Excellent. This is actually a first. I'm used to hearing half of my class say, "Oh, I didn't have time. I had to prioritize science." Or math. Yeah, so at your tables, let's review what you got out of your homework. I would say let's start with Aleph and see how we did there. What did it ask you to do? It asked you to do a lot. Circling. Yeah, so, yes. Was it brutal?
And you're looking at this, and you're going to this. It's like this is cursive and this is...
Oh, no, this isn't cursive. This is the regular block script. This is simple block.
So it's simple.
It's the simplified block script. Mm-hmm.
But we're supposed to do simple right now, right?
Yeah. Don't trouble yourself with the little serifs and all that. We're nowhere near ready for that yet. Now, and plus, I would only you can only really achieve this style if you have a calligraphy pen, if you have a chisel tip pen. Yeah, yeah. Well, and the thing is, it's even then, you don't have to be a sofer to actually be able to do it well. It's just, practice. That's okay. That's a good place to start. Absolutely.
One thing I'm just really struggling with is just looking at these and imagining them to be words.
That's what I think when I see. That's what. Well, that's what I think when I see Arabic. When I see Arabic, I'm like, impossible. This is some kid's wonderfully beautiful scribblings. But it's so pretty. So pretty.
Like it's definitely an instructive part of my brain. Brain work, for sure.
But I did find it really helpful to say them as I kind of went.
Because it's not in the notes here, so I was gonna ask you.
Oh, kamatz? Yeah,
Yeah, so I didn't find it any place in here, but is this right? This is the kamatz and this is the kachok.
that's right.
Okay.
That's right.
They have the same sound.
They have the same sound mostly. This one can sometimes make an O sound, and actually today we'll see it in action. We're not learning new vowel pointings. Well, okay. We are learning new vowel pointings, but not formally. I'm introducing them to you, and then we'll talk about them more later. But the kamatz, for our purposes now, it says ah. Yeah, for now.
It's okay.
What's that?
Oh, I
Oh, you missed?
even
Oh,
look at that.
that's okay. Yes.
So, on your God, is it Elohim, or how do you?
Oh,
your God?
Elohecha.
Huh?
Elohecha.
El-
Elohecha. Yeah. Elohecha. Yeah. Yeah. And page number.
I thought that was.
That's this one.
That's not.
That's Elohecha.
That's not Elohim.
No, Elohim. It doesn't end with the mem sofit.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, actually, we're going to introduce you to. We thought we had the word Elohim last week. I think we did. So. Correct. That is correct. So.
Oh, that's Elohim. Oh,
Yeah, I want to show you. I'll do the nikudot for now in different colors.
And this. Yeah. And this here. Say that again.
Elohecha.
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 So, yeah. So Elohecha. So it's he. So it's he.
Yeah.
Ha. So it's a guttural. Yeah, one guttural. Elohecha. But yeah, so like the next verse that we're going to learn for the Shema is verse 5. It's going to say, Va'ahavta Elohecha. Yeah. Va'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha. That one.
So can we find that? Oh, cool. It's just
Shema? Oh, definitely. Actually,
did I spell right? S-H-E-M-A?
yeah. Yeah, Shema. Yep. Yeah, you can find that. It's Deuteronomy chapter 6, verses 4 through 9. And then by the end of the class, we will also add Leviticus 19:18. 6. Chapter 6, verses 4 through 9. Yeah. Actually, if you get the complete Jewish Bible, it actually renders it in English lettering. It puts it in transliteration. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu. Yeah. And also, and also Numbers chapter 6 at the end. It also puts that in there in transliteration. It's all in English. So, yeah, it's most excellent. So, what's the difference?
What's the difference between that one and that one?
Nothing in terms of sound. Ba, ba.
So why did I write it different?
Because in different words, the patach and the kamatz, they mean different things. So the word changes its meaning.
Okay. But only if you write
Yeah, but what they relied on before was context.
Okay, right.
So context made very clear what the word was going to be. So what about you guys?
I didn't bring it, but I did do it.
You did do it? Okay. So I have to know, what was the hardest letter so far you've had to learn to write?
I guess maybe
Vet? Really? Just kind of getting them confused, or?
Yeah.
Okay.
But I mean, it wasn't too crazy hard.
Yeah. The one, I'll tell you, I'll freely confess, we haven't introduced it yet, but when we get to ayin, the letter ayin is one of the ones I struggled with the most. And it's one of the most beautiful, but I struggled with it. And then sadi is another one that you're going to find difficult. And they look a lot alike, those two, ayin and sadi. Yeah, you'll see this. But yeah, that's cool. That's okay. Well, what about you? Same thing? The vet? Yeah, it's getting them confused. That's understandable. Yeah. So we're going to get some chances to practice that today a little bit here in just a moment. Ma. Oh. He just got my shirt. I have an answer, I hope.
Yeah.
Oh, see, nice.
This one has a dagesh.
Yes.
Do they sound the same?
They do. Yes. Notice.
Is there any difference?
Yes, the dagesh does play a function. It's not just there for decorative.
That's why I was.
Yeah. So usually it's probably either a dagesh forte, which makes it a harder sound,
Okay.
or in this case it's a doubling dagesh.
That's right. So it would be like two.
Yeah.
All right. That's right.
May I look at this? I'm so sorry. I have to
Yes,
see.
you can.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, I've been looking at this one as a possible. This is so fun. Oh my gosh.
And they took it from the original
This is the codex.
scriptures, the original, like,
Uh,
Hebrew and that.
Oh, yeah.
So it's like your, and
Yeah.
everything.
I've seen this online, and I have never seen one in person before. That is amazing. That is so cool.
So that's
Ma.
Gad right there.
Oh, that's Gad.
That's
Okay.
Gad.
Hmm?
That
And
makes
then,
sense.
and the little
I'm
thingy.
trying to figure out why in Gilgal it starts with a date.
Right?
That's the word
Which one?
at. That's the word at.
Is that at?
I think that's at.
That is, yeah, in or at. But yeah, we haven't introduced prepositions yet.
Okay, gotcha.
We haven't introduced prepositions.
Getting ahead.
Well,
Allowed to get a coffee?
yeah, absolutely. You are not glued to your seats.
Trying to figure out
Would
if
you
I
want
should
to
put a
get a
honey
sugar
packet
cookie? I'd be happy to. Huh?
Ma?
Yeah, you're
I want to
welcome.
put a honey packet here.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Literally apply the lesson. Okay. Yes, I have a quick answer, I hope. It's just Just Because notice there is only one nikud. Only one vowel pointing.
Otherwise, it's silent.
That's right. It's just Yeah, just Yep.
And what was our other question?
The one for father.
Oh, Av. Yep. Yep. So, like you've heard it before, Avraham. Abraham. Avraham.
Like in Abba.
Abba. Yep. Abba is daddy, essentially. Yeah.
Yeah, but what happened to the, what happened to the, that's a V.
Av. Remember, bet, vet. I introduced those very specifically because I wanted people to know that bet without the dagesh is va.
Right.
So vet.
So this one is father, but it's a V, right?
Yeah. Av. I'm going to throw you guys for a loop. This is not the only letter that makes a va sound. Yay, Hebrew! So good.
English is like 95% phonetic, so
You're correct.
it is. I've been teaching reading.
Oh, so in this, I do want to give you guys an opportunity. I want to validate your hard work on your homework. Is there anything in there that perplexes you, that you need questions answered about? I would love to field those questions for the moment.
I'm just hoping this all is gonna at some point be an aha.
Well, I will tell you, it takes dedication, which I believe every one of you will show. And I have every reason to believe you'll succeed in finding those aha moments. And where you're going to really see, I think, the passion of this thing come out is going to be when you start seeing those things that you didn't notice before. You'll open your Bible and you'll be like, I know this word. I know this word. I know this word. It's all coming together, you know?
And John, we were reading about at the pool of Bethsaida. Oh, yeah. I actually went on the top of the side and I wrote, for house, Bethsaida. What we heard about, I did
Mhm.
for house.
That's very refreshing to hear. That's awesome. So are there any lingering questions, concerns, rotten fruit, anything? Please don't throw it at me. That would be mean. Any lingering, any questions at all about the homework at all? You guys got it? It was just that easy? Well, I'm not going to leave you hanging. We're not just going to leave it there. I do want to go ahead and give us some practice with some of the things that are in there. So, starting on this side, I want to actually go ahead and just, we're going to speak these ones together, and then I'm going to have you guys be able to get up a little. So, let's start here. What is this one? Ba. Good. Ga, ga. Emet. Tov me. Oh, everyone. Very good. Now.
You have a silly question though.
Oh, yeah. What's your silly question?
2 symbols for the not accent, but the whatever you call the thing down
The
below.
vowel point?
But they're the vowel points, and they're both the same.
They make the same sound most of the time. So if you remember, the patach always is ah. This one, and today you'll see this happen. This sometimes make an o sound.
I had to ask.
Oh. Yeah. So
Does it ever make an O sound alone, or only when it's combined with the ellipses?
there are different. There's actually the holum. No. It's by itself, but it's always under certain conditions, and I will teach you that in more detail at a later time. I don't want to confuse you too much right now. Okay, so this is one where I'm going to ask you guys to come and point to the one that makes this sound. So let's start with you young fellas back there. One of you two. You have to rock off to figure out who's doing what. So let's see. Can someone point to me where it says dada?
Would be the bottom right.
Bottom right? I mean, you can come up. You can come and point if you want. I mean, if you want to, you can stand if you want. This one?
Yeah.
So is this? Oh, it's not dada. That
Middle left.
Middle one.
dada. Yes. Okay. Shelby, where is? Let's see. Bob. Top right. 12. All right. Let's see. Ab.
Middle, right.
Middle right. 12. Hey, mate. All right. Let's see. You got this one. Let's see. Da.
Bottom right.
Da. Da.
I don't know. Oh, bottom left.
Correct. Good. All right. Chris, let's see. Gaba.
Top left.
Top left. Correct. All right. Let's see. I don't think we did this one yet. What about Gav?
Top third to the right.
This one?
Yes.
12. Yes. I think that just leaves us dad. Dad.
Bottom right.
Bottom right. That's right. Now, let's try a different set. Let's see. Okay, Gag. Gag.
Second from the right. Top second one over.
Which one?
That one.
This one?
Yeah.
Correct. Okay.
Say my directions.
Okay. Yeah.
Middle line, extreme left.
There we go. Yes, good. All right. Okay. Back there. Gad.
The second one from
This one?
That one.
This? Oh, this was Gag.
Oh,
Gad.
you're
Gad.
saying.
Gad. Yeah.
The-
Yeah.
Right.
Tov.
Correct.
Hey, mate. All right. All right, Adam. Adam, here we go. Abba.
Which one?
Abba.
Oh, okay, oh, second row, right side,
This one?
yes.
Correct. Abba. Yeah, Abba. Yeah. Let's see.
Can I have a question?
Yeah.
You never put a vowel point without a consonant.
No, not
So
always.
I'm asking if because the the second is a placeholder for the us.
Oh, yeah,
You
so-
would never just put the vowel point there.
Typically, no. There are some cases where that does happen, but normally, in order to carry the sound of the nikud, you have to have something that follows.
Okay.
Normally, it's just at the end. So, like in this case right here, for example, Elohim, if it was just Elohe, I could put another dot right there and then have no mem, and it would just be the yud, but it would have to have a yud there. But there are some cases where the he by itself can actually carry a vowel by itself, and those are very specific circumstances. For example, when instead of it being just a soft H sound, it would be ah, an aspiration, ah, like bah, something like that. So it's not a guttural, but it's a hard H. That's a good question though. And then let's see, Linda, where's bad, or vad?
Bottom row middle.
Bottom middle. All right, and this one, what does this one say? Da. Very good. Duh. No, we haven't learned that one yet. Duh. We'll get there. We'll get there. All right. Now, let's review some vocabulary. What is this word? What does it say? What's that? Love. Now, what does it say in Hebrew? You're right. Ahaba? Ahava. Yeah, ahava. Ahava. Yeah. Ahava. Yeah. This one? We haven't learned this one yet. Surprise! But we're still going to learn how this thing sounds. So you can actually tell already this one makes an ah sound as well. Are you confused? Ahava. Yeah, now I'm just going to be upfront with you guys. Some of the rules that dictated a lot of aspects of Hebrew are lost to us. We don't know them. It's as simple as that. Or they are more complex than even I learned in seminary. So, just saying. But yes, you were right. This is ahava. Yeah, which means love. Good. How about this one? What does this say? Truth? Emet. Yeah. So when you hear me say emet in class, I'll say that to you when I'm saying that's correct. You know, it is truth. Correct. Emet. Good. Okay. This one. Amen. Which I think we know what that means. Amen. Yeah, right on. Or as Lauren puts it, oh yeah.
How do you say it though? Is it amen?
Amen. Yeah, amen.
Amen.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, some people pronounce it a little differently, but amen is, I mean, if you're saying amen, it's like, it's good enough. We know what you mean. But amen. So, this one. Av. Av. Right. Father. Good.
Elohim.
Elohim. That is right. Tov me'od.
I knew that one.
For some reason. Tov. Emet. Elohim. Very good.
So in the song, when it says Elohai, does that mean our God?
Yeah. Gadol Elohai is, I think it's my God, actually. How great is my God? But it works. Because if Eloheinu is our God.
I don't want you to do it tonight, but at some point in this course, will you explain why the first mention of God in Genesis is the plural of God? Like there's multiple gods. I don't want you to explain it now.
I mean, it would take...
Yeah, I know.
It would take a little time, but...
Yeah. But at some...
Could I do that? I definitely.
Somewhere down the road, I'd love
That's
to
Chris is like...
why, at least the first chapter of Genesis...
It gets into some intense stuff. It's so
why
good.
If God is one, according
Mm-hmm.
to Moses,
Mm-hmm.
then why is it plural gods?
Chris is an itching to say something.
You tell me later.
Michael Heiser.
Oh, boy.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. It's going to sound weird, but the Naked Bible podcast is good. Naked Bible podcast. It's just he calls it that because it removes all it removes all denominational distinctions. But I will say this, just as a warning for you on that one. It's fine to listen to it. His theology isn't, especially where it lands with Jesus and everything important, it lands right where it needs to be. I will tell you, it's extremely heady.
Which one, Naked Bible?
Yeah, that one is extremely heady, and it will challenge you, and there are going to be categories and things you are going to not necessarily understand. So he will frequently reference his book, The Unseen Realm, and it's a good read, but I will tell you, it is challenging, and there are some things, like he's going to quote Enoch and other books, and he's going to talk about angelic beings. And Elohim, actually, the simple meaning is God, but actually it has a range of meaning, which I can tell you now in brief. In essence, Elohim means God, uppercase G. It means gods, lowercase g, spiritual beings, and it means human judges.
Human what?
Human judges. It is used of human judges. And also, in one very famous incident, a human spirit. Think of the Witch of Endor. Yeah, the Witch of Endor, the medium of Endor, if you've heard it translated that way. It's she conjures up this, she's trying to conjure up the spirit of Samuel, and she says, I see an Elohim coming up from the earth. And then she realizes it's Samuel, and then she also has this moment of clarity and says, you're King Saul, you tricked me. And he's like, blah, blah, blah. No. You're a dead woman. No, he doesn't say that. No, he says, I told you I wasn't going to do anything. Now, what is he saying? Miracle Max, you can't rush a miracle. You get rotten miracles. Oh, he did. Oh, he did. Thanks for laughing. See, that's more than I get from my students at school.
Paul, the thing with Samuel is he was only mostly dead.
Oh, no.
He was not fully dead.
He was all dead. He was all dead. That's why they had to call him up from the dead. Oh, don't even get me started. Okay, along with Elohim comes this little gem, Elohecha. Elohecha. So, be careful. This one is not a guttural. I'm going to throw you guys for a loop today, I promise you. Elohecha. Elohecha. That's right.
That second thing must be L.
Lamed, yeah. So, yeah, we're gonna learn Lamed next week.
Yay.
So Elohim, Elohecha. Yeah, so Elohecha.
What is
So
that last letter there?
that's a kaf sofit.
Okay, gotcha.
Kaf sofit. We're going to learn that next week too.
So the dots instead of the aw sound, they're the F.
Yeah, and we're going to. This is actually really a blending of two. You probably noticed the one with the little dash and these two dots next to it. Also a combination, but this is called a segol, and there's a segol and what's called a shava, which we are going to learn a little bit about today. So, not the whole construction, but the Shavah.
And that means your God? Or what does that mean?
That is the Lord, okay. So Eloheinu is our God. Elohe, or Elohai, is my God. Elohecha, your God.
Okay, your God.
Yeah, so,
Your God, big G?
yes, yeah, your God. That's right. Yeah, context will tell you which use of the word Elohim is being used. That's usually enough to do it. Because if it's talking in terms of being righteous or creator or anything that's familiar to us relating to God, it's going to always be in the positive. If it's speaking disparagingly or whatever, it's definitely talking about a false god. So, and it's like the gods you worshipped in Egypt, put those away. The gods of the Canaanites, put those away, So, and I think that's I'm giving you more than what your curriculum had because I want you to have these. Then there's this. Bait, emet. What does this word mean? Bait. If you want somewhere to live, you have to bite. Correct. If you want somewhere to live, you have to buy it. I told you, we learn by puns. All right. Now, I hope you know this one. Oh my, we just did a song about it. Gadol. Emet. All right, and it means? Great or big. Yeah. Yeah. Great or big and great or great big. You decide. No. All right. How about this one? Huh? Davar. Yeah. Emet. Davar. Yeah. So there's no dagesh, so it's a va. Davar. That's right. Now, so what is davar?
I've heard that word, yeah. We've given us that word.
Davar. It's in the lesson. Word or thing. Word or thing. Now, we're not done with davar today. We actually have some more to do with this. We have some more to do with this. Okay. Now let's see. So let's introduce our first new letter for today. Hey. 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 Now, for the record, it is all letters today. We're only learning consonants today. We're not going to learn new vowel pointings, but we're starting off next week as a preview with the alphanumerics. We're going to learn a little bit about Hebrew numbers next week to start us off. Don't sound so excited. I told you already, my mom said don't do drugs, so I don't do math. So, all right. So, He is the fifth letter of the Hebrew Aleph Bet. Its image is said to be that of a window. Now, which is weird because the word window is halon, which is a guttural. This is not that. This is just He. So, now, in English, our word the, it's an article, is able to be on its own, albeit without context. It's a little weird. When you hear the word the, you're like, the what? The what? Yes, the what? The same is true in Hebrew, except He never stands on its own at all. And it starts, to draw it, you have to start this way. So let me do that again so you can see it. Amazing graphics. Woo! Okay. And then the second is like that. I really, really wish I could figure out how to make it so that I could curve the arrows going like this. But I can't figure that out yet. But it looks like that when it's all done.
That space there is important.
It is very important, and you'll see why very soon. Halayla hazeh. You will see. So, you remember that time I told you we weren't done with Davar yet? Well, I wasn't kidding. There are actually 2 words here. You have already learned one of them. This one? The word, Davar. Notice the hey at the beginning, though. And here it serves a very specific function. The hey prefix is added to the beginning of a word to make it the direct object marker. So, in this case, it is the word or the thing. Okay? Davar by itself means word or thing, as you know. Now, you have to supply a or an, because Hebrew doesn't have that. Neither does Greek, for that matter. If you take Koine Greek, it does not have it does not have the article a or an. It's just there. So it's supplied. It's just implied in the other languages. Now, when hey is present at the beginning of a noun, it indicates that it is specifically referring to that noun directly. Hence why this one says the word, the thing. Now, let me introduce another concept. Something you may have noticed by now is that Hebrew words frequently have 3 letters in them. 3. Because every Hebrew word has a 3-consonant stem or root. And these are, now various prefixes and suffixes are added to give a specific meaning, or as your book says, shades of meaning. So possessive words in Hebrew, like the hey, like the hey, don't stand on their own, but they get attached to a word as a suffix. For example, Elohecha, that kaf sofit at the end is a possessive. Your God. Elohecha, you shall love the Lord your God with all of your heart, soul, strength. Okay? So, many prepositions are also prefixes, and we'll get to these at some point fairly soon. I'm not going to hurt your head that much today. Hey is not exclusively the direct object marker or the, but does serve other functions which I'm not going to trouble you with right now. We'll get to that later. So this is the only word that it was going to introduce in this lesson here. The next one is vav. We're going to spend a little bit of time on this one, because this letter is, as the 6th letter of the alphabet, it is said to be the picture of a nail. Now, I'll bet you'll never guess what sound this one makes. What? V. Yeah. 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 Hebrew. Yeah. This letter has a variety of pronunciations besides, just so you know. At one time, it's interesting to note, as a historical note, the vav used to make a w sound. Yeah, Arabic retains that. Now, what changed, you might ask? Well, it was contact with European societies, yes, but also since the Babylonian exile, a lot has changed with Hebrew, not the least of which is the physical letters we are using, but also it is the v sound starts to emerge from that time as well. But it gets cemented during the Ashkenazic sojourn. So, now, as you noticed, this is in fact one of 2 letters that makes a v sound. Isn't that so fun? And it's really fun when they both show up in a word. Yeah. Yeah, and you'll see them. I promise you will. This letter can also make other sounds depending on which nikud, vowel pointing, is associated with it. Now, how do we draw this? This is a 1 downward stroke letter. You just start at the top left and then go down. Now notice the flag is very short at the top. If you get too much longer, it starts to look like another letter. If you go over the back, it looks like another letter. We're going to talk about beware of lookalikes whenever they come up. This is going to be one of those. So this one is super uncomplicated. It looks like that when it's done. It's a straw. It's a bendy straw. Now, yes, the vav, you will always forever know that now as the bendy straw letter. All right. The vav does show up in different parts of words, but it is also frequently a player as a prefix in words. Like the hey, it never stands by itself. It is routinely seen as a prefix attached to a word. That doesn't mean, again, that it only shows up there. Now, it does have a sizable range of meaning, but the basic 5 you need to know, really, at this point, it can mean and, but, now, then, and so. Yeah. It plays oh, we're not done, believe me. Vav, like I said, we're going to camp here for a little. Vav has a lot to say. You're going to lava the Vav later. Lava, vav, vav. All right. Any questions so far on this? Okay. Well, don't let me go too fast. If you have questions, feel free to stop me. I am very interested in questions. I'm glad to take them. You guys doing okay back there? All right. I know Adam is just dying to ask a question. You look at him. Are you sure? Okay. All right. Did you hear what she called me when we left last week? She's like, "You're such a nerd." I'm like,
Yeah.
"Oh, yeah? And?" Honestly, it was fun last week. It was so good. I loved it. It was. Do you guys have fun? I mean, come on. This is. I love this. I love this so much. Thank you. I'll put a veil over my face. No. Thank you. Now, you guys ready to have your heads hurt a little? There are 3 words here. And the king. Magnificent. That is correct. The vav and hey are both prefixes used together in this situation. In this case, the vav is a vav consecutive, which means it's carrying forward a thought that came before. And the king. If it was different, it would be, if it was a conjunction, it would be but the king. It would be setting up a contrast. See what I'm saying? It's like, in fact, I actually have some thoughts on that in just a moment.
Also be so the king?
So the king, yeah, depending on if he has a needle or not. Yeah, it could be then the king. That's right. But for our purposes, just for ease of simplicity, with no context whatsoever, and the king is the best way to go because it's the basic meaning. Context will tell you which it is, as Hebrew often does. Greek is actually a lot nicer in that regard because they have a lot of words that will actually agree in terms of number and gender, grammatical gender, with that word. That gives you more clues as to what's going on. So, let's see. Now, the hey is doing the job of indicating it's the king in this case. So, and the king. Now, if it was v'melech without this, it would be and a king. You see what I'm saying? It would be and a king without the ha. Now, another major option for the vav is the vav conjunction, as I mentioned, and they both look identical. Context is king, everybody. You'll find this out. Now, as I mentioned, there's a good example here out of Malachi when he quotes God. He says, "I loved Jacob, but Esau I hated." Now, there's a theological point to be made here because hate's such a strong word, right? Now, when God said, "Jacob I loved, but Esau I hated," he's not saying he literally hated Esau. He's saying, "I didn't choose him." Now, why was the family of Jacob chosen? Anybody know?
Is that the way God wanted?
Yeah, but there was a reason behind it. I mean, what do we know about Esau?
Like gave up his birthright, sold it.
For what?
For stew.
For stew. That tells you what about this man?
He's selfish.
Careless, selfish, frivolous. Jacob, he was far from being a man after God's own heart. He was definitely somebody who was shrewd enough to do whatever he had to do to get the things he needed or wanted. So, but shrewd, yeah. Well, the name Yaakov means heel grabber. Heel grabber, literally heel grabber. Yaakov, deceiver, usurper. But yeah, so like I said, when it says Esau I hated, it just simply means that he didn't select him. It's not that he hated him or had any sort of prejudice. He just, no, he's not the one I'm going to carry my mission through. Because, I mean, the guy is not going to follow through. And incidentally, Esau, we're not done with Esau in the story. It's not that Jacob just gets the birthright and that's it. We all know what happens next. There's this bad blood between them. And actually, Esav, actually becomes the principal ancestor of the Edomites. It is. Well, incidentally, in Edom, if you didn't know, is in modern-day Jordan. So,
Edom was destroyed, right?
well, yeah, but they're not. When a nation is destroyed, it's never all the people, just the society. People regroup and rebrand and do new things. But Edom, as you probably can guess, there's definitely some linguistic stuff going on there. Esau, not so much. But what do we know about Esau and his appearance?
Red.
He was red. So, red and hairy. So, I'm going to do this just in English just to save time. Okay, so Adom is red. So, it's red. Edom is a close linguistic parallel. The actual meaning, forgive me, I don't know exactly, but it's definitely coming from Adom, the color of Esav's complexion. So that's where the original root is. Isn't that fascinating? How little things like that clue you into what's going on. Now, as a prefix to a verb, vav can change the tense of that verb. It's shown here with, and this is what I was mentioning earlier, this is called a shavah, which we're going to introduce more formally later.
The 2 dots.
Yeah, the 2 dots this way. The 2 dots this way is something else. The 2 dots this way, up and down, is called a shavah, and it's not something we'll go into a whole lot of depth at this point. That there is a lesson for that. Now, obviously, we don't know the word for went, but when we add a vav to the word went, it changes the tense from the past to the future, where it says, and will go. And will go. It changes the tense of the verb. And when you add it to will keep, it changes it to the past or perfect kept. So we understand the verb tenses, right? How those work. Perfect means it's done and continuing. Past, there's also a word which is used in the Greek, aorist, which is not used in Hebrew as far as I recall. So I don't believe it's used there. So yeah, it has a lot that it does, and there's more. Vav is a consonant, but with different nikudot, that's vowel pointings, I just want to stress that. It can have a variety of vowel sounds that it takes. By itself, here, it says va, just vav, right? It's a V as in very. But then, it has this version, which has a dagesh, and it says oo. Ooh, so try that. Ooh, ooh. Like ooh, yeah. No. There will be a time, though. Oh, there's always something, isn't there? Hebrew is so much fun. All right. Now, with this is called, that little dot above it is called a holum. Now, something you may have picked up already if you're paying attention. The vowel pointing names, kamatz, patach, holum, they give you a clue into what sounds they make. So, holum, which one does that mean? What sound does that make? Oh, there it is. That's right. Like open. This is called the holum vav. This is actually a very common construction. You will see this all the time. A holum and a vav. You always see these together, and that always makes an O sound. Now here, you may notice that the holum is by itself. There is never, the word, the vav never shows up here in Elohim. But they needed to communicate the O sound, so they just put the dot above the he. So, all right. In some cases, though, remember what I told you, there's always more. In some cases, it appears with a dagesh and another vowel pointing. The top one says, based on the fact that it has a patach, so they both pronounce the va sound. So what is this one going to say? Va. Now this one has a holum. Oh, not quite. The dagesh. It's going to say what? Vo. That's right. Vo. That's right. So now again, we've kind of somewhat introduced the holum. I'll explain more about that later. But you're right. It says vo and va up there. That's right. It doesn't hurt that I put the answers up there for you. Now, we're going to do a little excursus on some translation. So you guys probably have noticed that the Old Testament, when you read it, it gets a little wordy, doesn't it? I would ask you guys to think about this just for a moment, because translations are imperfect. You probably already know this. When you translate something from one language to another, it's going to change something about it. It's either going to change the meaning a little bit, or even if it's as approximate as you can get. Even the jump from Hebrew to Greek for the Septuagint, the LXX, the Old Testament in Greek, if you don't know what that is. It's the linguistic jump is enough that in spite of its closeness, there's some things that just don't quite line up. So it's important to know that you're going to have some issues with that. But if you've read the Tanakh, the Old Testament, and you say to yourself, this is super verbose or cumbersome, it's so thick, it says things in such a weird way, like we don't talk like this. Yeah, you're going to find that Hebrew is actually really amazing because it's known for its concise nature. It's more vigorous than the English presents it. So if you look at the verse on page 38 out of Numbers 4, take a moment, count those words. How many Hebrew words are there? How many words on page 38? How many words are in the Hebrew version?
23.
Close. 25. Yeah. So there's 25. That's right. Now what about the English? Yeah.
A whole lot more.
How many? Do you know?
50.
Ooh, close. You're so close. 56. So there are 25 words in the Hebrew version and 56 in the English. That tells you something about our translations. Let me show you how this works. So, as I've described it, it's a bit clunky, isn't it? Do you see the differences between the two texts? Obviously, you can't necessarily read the Hebrew unless you're just already good at this and you're doing this for a refresher. In that case, bless your heart. If I get sick one day, you can teach. Please, heavens, no. Okay. It's kind of clunky though, right? It's a bit clunkier than the Hebrew. And it shows up in this way. Take the phrase, and the Lord spoke to Moses saying. Right? Now that's what I'm saying. We don't talk like that. We don't. So, and the Lord spoke to Moses saying. Now, here, this is all in your book, by the way. So I'm giving you guys kind of a heads up. This is coming up in your reading. The Greeks introduced the earliest forms of what we know as quotation marks. Okay? Hebrew indicated direct speech by putting the word saying in there. So, and God spoke to Moses saying. We could, in theory, translate that out by way of not translating it. And we could just say, and God spoke to Moses, and just put him, well, or quotation marks. The saying is indicating that there's direct speech happening from God. So, that's what it's saying. And the Lord spoke to Moses, comma, quotations. In fact, in some places it does that. I like the one personally where it's like, and he opened his mouth and began to speak. Like, really? No kidding. Now, before we move on to Zion, do we have any questions? I don't want to move that quickly. Any questions about where we've been so far? Okay.
So basically, we talked about 3 jobs that Vav does.
Mm-hmm.
It can be and, but, now, then, so.
Mm-hmm.
It changes the tense of the verb.
Mm-hmm.
And it can be the oo or the ah sound.
Oh, it can be more than that.
I mean, I just mean what
Yeah.
we've done so far.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And was the ah called a holum?
So the ah, so with the patach underneath the line,
Right.
that one is that's just a patach underneath the vav. So, I should try to be consistent with the way I do this. All right. Okay. So let's see. If we do this, yeah, the dagesh, I'm keeping it as part of the letter for now. So that is, it's just the patach underneath the vav with a dagesh. This, actually, incidentally, the holim vav, you could actually take that as a vowel. You could take it as a vowel.
Well, because you don't enunciate the V in that one.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, as soon as you,
What vowel how would you say that if it's by itself?
this is just O. O.
And you call it a hol, that has the holum and the vav.
Holim vav. Holim vav. Now, this is not the same as this. It is not the same. The dagesh makes all the difference. Because then you have the holim of here, and so then you get this sound. You get vo. Yeah, like vayavo, and he went.
So what's
Or and he came, actually.
Nakadot?
Nikud. Yeah, nikud. There's different, yeah, so nikud, and then I'm going to say ot. It's plural. This is the plural suffix. It's a grammatical feminine. Yeah, these are all good questions.
This is probably, okay.
No, that's fine.
So in words, the top one, the ah, why wouldn't you just put an olive there?
Oh, I'm sorry. Wait a minute. I almost forgot. I'm sorry. This
You know
one,
what I mean?
this one says va.
Okay, okay.
My mistake.
Got it.
Va.
Va.
Va. Without, with, if it, and actually at the beginnings of words, without the dagesh, it still makes that sound.
Okay.
So, like vayomer. So that, and he said. So, obviously you don't know what that means, but, well, except I tell you.
So in the holim vav, the holim gets rid of the V sound, and then the dagesh puts it back.
More or less, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it basically eliminates that and it just makes an O. Usually this is found with other letters surrounding it in some way. I don't think I've ever seen a hole and vav at the beginning of a word. Because like I said, the vav doesn't only show up at the beginnings of words, but as a prefix, it has a bunch of jobs that it does, depending on the context. So this is a major player in the Hebrew alphabet. Yeah, and you're going to see it a lot. Yeah, and you'll see the differences over time. You will see how it's functioning.
So that would be the second one right here in our workbook.
Yeah, that's right. An O sound, an U sound, if it just has, oh, and I should put that up there for your benefit as well. This one, when it's like this, just like that, it's an U sound. It doesn't have a special designation like hole and vav. It's just U, as in pool. Or drool in the pool. It's a cheap shot. And that's on tape for posterity. Enjoy it. All right. Video. Shh.
Can we access the video?
Yeah, I got the link set up.
Yeah, it's too big to put on Google Drive.
Is it?
Yeah, so I put it on my YouTube channel and then I can link. It's private, so whoever has access to the link can use it. So
Okay.
I just have to
Okay.
make a spreadsheet or something in the Google Drive.
Okay.
has the links for everybody.
You're amazing. Thank you.
I tried very hard this week to make it smaller. It didn't work.
Yeah, unfortunately, video files tend to be rather large. Yeah. Yeah, thank you so much, Shelby. That's fantastic. I appreciate your effort so much. Any other questions before we talk about Zion?
Not to be confused with Zion.
Actually, that's one of the things I wanted to talk about. I'm glad you said something. Zion is the seventh letter of the alphabet. Now, it is said, I'm trying to introduce you to what it's depicting, because remember, these are kind of logograms and pictograms originally. It's said to be the picture of a scepter or a weapon. I've also heard it described as being an axe. You can kind of see an axe head sort of thing. Yeah. Yeah. So I've seen it described in multiple ways. Now, Zion, since you mentioned Zion, okay, so this is important. Did you need these still? Okay. If I need to rewrite them, I will. Okay. So, Zion. You probably have heard this word before. Zion. Okay. So, this is not the same. Zion is different. It's not to be confused with Zion, because actually this word is actually kind of a close rendering to the original. If you want to transliterate the original, though, you're going to have to we'll have to kind of graze over a letter I haven't introduced yet. Yeah, Tzion.
So it starts with a tzaddik.
Tzaddik, yeah. Yeah, we haven't talked about tzaddik yet. But Tzion is a better transliteration of this word.
Is that how a native speaker would say it?
Yeah, Tzion. Tzion, yeah. Yeah, we haven't introduced tzaddik yet. We will, though. I promise you we will get there. Yeah, Tzion. I've also seen it with like TZ, but I think TS is actually a better, because it captures that. Instead of Z, it's Tzion. So, I don't have as much to say about Zion, but I will say it's important to know how it's drawn, because maybe that looks a little confusing to you. It took a little bit for me to learn this one. Yeah, so it starts off with a bar across the top. For yours, I think yours is a little different. Yeah, you always follow the book more than this. This is an imperfect thing. I'm just trying to give you a general teaching on how to draw it in general. You can. I actually found these graphics on using Canva. I told you it's amazing software. I love it so much. Yeah, if it's tilted more, that's fine. That's just how it's supposed to be. It's a simple simple Zion. I promise I can speak. This one, it didn't do the graphic, did it? Pooh. Darn it. Okay, well, you swoop down this way. That's annoying. I was trying to make it work. And then it looks something like that. Probably more of an angle in your version. Now, there is, in fact, actually one word that I want to talk with you about from this one. Now, Zerah. So let's try that. Zerah. Zerah. So, it means seed. Now you can, of course, you can think about, like the sower is sowing seed. Zerah. But it actually speaks most often of offspring, children. Abraham was promised by God that his offspring, Zerah, would inherit the land of Canaan. That's in Genesis 12. In Galatians 3, this is on page 42 actually of your books, we see this idea of seed referring to the recipients of promises God made to Abraham being extended to include those among the nations who would believe in Yeshua, Jesus. And they would become heirs according to the promise. That's you. That's me. Those who trust in Jesus become heirs of the promises made to Abraham. Pretty incredible stuff, huh? All right, now I'm going to teach you a new word. Are you ready? Menucha. Time for a break. Menucha. It's time for a break. Let's get some stretching in. So, is there a mute? Do you just mute?
Just hold it till the light.